Shannon, will McCarthy be better in Dallas than he was in Green Bay?
I don't think so. And then Andy Reid saying this, coaches always speak very glowingly and high. Even coaches that can't coach or aren't very good. Oh, he's great. For me, for Mike McCarthy, Skip, the guy had 13 years. He had 2 generational quarterbacks. And he went 2 and won 1 Super Bowl. Is that the mark of a good coach? Mm-hmm. Really? Now, George Seifert had 2 generational quarterbacks. He won 2 Super Bowls and lost the championship game on a fumble by Roger Craig in 1990. Skip, you remember the game?
I do.
But when George Seifert went to the Carolina Panthers, how'd that work out for him, Skip? I think he was 7-9, 8-8, and 1-15, and that ended it. And George Seifert never coached again in the NFL.
Okay.
So how good a coach is Mike McCarthy? Now, this is what we do know. He's going to a situation where the quarterback he currently has isn't comparable to those 2 he just left.
The one you keep saying deserves $40 million bucks.
I'm talking. It's my turn.
Different day.
New
day, new topic.
New day.
Yep.
I'm saying is that Mike McCarthy had Brett Favre, and then he transitioned right into Aaron Rodgers. Very few quarterbacks have been able to do that, Skip. I don't know if there's ever been a coach, because you remember, Skip, after he won in '88, Bill Walsh retired after they beat the Bengals. Mm-hmm. George Seifert took over. In '89, they beat the Broncos, lost the championship game, and then in '94, they beat San Diego in the Super Bowl. But we've never seen this, where I'm talking about boom, boom, and that's the same coach. He had Brett Favre, 3-time MVP, Super Bowl winner, and he had 2-time MVP, Aaron Rodgers. And he got 2 and won 1 Super Bowl. How good a coach is he, Skip?
My turn?
No, it's not your turn. So he's going to a situation.
Unbelievable.
He's going to a situation.
I keep getting asked questions, and I can't
You're
speak.
opening the door, Shannon.
He's going to a situation where the quarterback is not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Brett Favre. So we'll get an opportunity to see how good Mike McCarthy is. But I will say this. The hedge has been removed. Because every time they lost the game, it was because of Jason Garrett. The defense played horrible, where Jason Garrett didn't get them motivated. The offense didn't play well. Okay. Well, it was Jason Garrett overruled Kellen Moore and what Kellen Moore wanted to do. Okay. That hedge has been removed. So we're going to see just how talented this team is and just how good this team is with Mike McCarthy, because there's no more excuses that can be placed on the head coach.
I will buy only that. No more excuses. Mike McCarthy is now the head coach of my Dallas Cowboys.
True.
And I am here to teach you how he is going to be even better than he was at his best in Green Bay. I'm going to remind you that Mike McCarthy did take last year off, and he didn't move to Florida like most of them do and play golf, or California or Arizona. He actually teamed up with Pro Football Focus to go 2nd and 3rd level analytical study. He actually brought in 3 ex-head coaches to sit with him on a daily basis and break down tape of what works in today's National Football League that I can take into my next job.
Not get massages on Saturday before
He did do that. I agree with you, and I think he got a little complacent, a little full of himself, and he did win the 1 Super Bowl.
Correct.
And I think you can argue it went to his head. You can argue a lot of different things. But the point is this. I believe what happened the last 2 years, falling completely apart with Aaron Rodgers, humbled him to the point he said, I need to refigure out how to do this. His coaching lineage is highly impressive from all the West Coast coaches that he coached from going back to the Walsh 49ers. So he has a legacy behind him of deep knowledge. And all of a sudden, he's brought this to Dallas. Okay, now, here's my counter to your point about George Seifert.
Okay.
Help me out here. You won your first Super Bowl with, who was your coach?
Mike Shanahan.
Thank you. Was Mike Shanahan on his 2nd NFL stint?
Absolutely.
He was. Yep. He had been the Raiders coach under Al Davis and had fallen completely apart with Al Davis and wound up in Denver, and magic happened, right?
Yes.
If John had stayed another year, I don't know, maybe you'd won 3. Who knows? Right?
Correct.
Okay. So now let's go to the second. I'm going up the list, okay? Dick Vermeil had coached the Eagles. He did get to a Super Bowl, but he didn't win one. Then he took a while off. And then he came back in his 2nd NFL stint, having learned what he learned in Philly. And what happened with the St. Louis Rams?
He won
the Super Bowl. Oh, interesting. Bill Belichick started out with the Cleveland Browns. They were just mediocre. They made 1 playoff They had one playoff game or two, I guess it was. Made the playoffs once in 5 years.
They did beat Parcells.
Yep,
in
they
New
did.
England.
Okay, and then what happened in New England, you know the rest of the
Right,
story, right?
right.
Second NFL stint.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to keep going up the ladder here to the fourth one. John Gruden, I covered in Oakland, fell completely apart with Al Davis, got traded to the Bucs, and what happened the next year? Second NFL stint, he won the Super Bowl, right? Let's keep going up the list, shall we? Let's go to the great Tony Dungy. He was pretty good in Indy, but no.
No, you mean he was really good in Tampa.
I mean Tampa. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. Pretty good in Tampa.
He was?
And he left the cupboard full for John Gruden.
Yeah.
But then second NFL stint, what happened?
Peyton.
He and Peyton went and won
Right.
the Super Bowl together. Let's keep going up the list. Tom Coughlin, he was pretty good in Jacksonville. He gave you the worst loss of your career.
He did.
In a first-round playoff game at home in Denver. You
Correct.
still haven't gotten over that
Nope.
game, right?
Nope.
But he didn't break through until he got his second NFL job with the New York Football Giants, right?
Right.
Pete Carroll, he had a first go-round, obviously,
two go-round.
but he had New England Jets back-to-back,
Right.
and they were short-lived,
Correct.
right? Then he goes away and coaches USC, and we know
Right.
that was great. And then he comes back for his second go-round in the NFL, and what happened? Super Bowls happened, right?
Yep.
Okay, where does that leave us? Gary Kubiak, you know Gary very well because he was your backup quarterback,
Yep.
and he started out and wasn't very good in Houston.
My
and-
OC also.
Okay, he was your OC, and he got fired, and then his second NFL stint was with the Broncos,
Right.
2015. It happened. Am I right? I'm going now. I'm showing you second stints.
Okay.
16 of the last 23 Super Bowl winning coaches. Think about this. 16 of 23 were all on their second go-round in the NFL when they won their Super Bowl.
I can point to you. All the guys you mentioned either had Hall of Fame worthy QBs or transcendent defenses. Tampa.
Sure. Okay, I'll give you that, but you need that.
So
I mean, you can't
what?
just snap your fingers.
So let me ask you a question.
You know, overachieving teams don't go win the Super
Let me
Bowl.
ask you a
It's
question.
just too hard.
Let me ask you a question. So what do the Cowboys have? Do they have a Hall of Fame worthy quarterback or a transcendent defense?
They have a transcendent offense.
No.
potentially. Yes, they do. Well, it was last year. They put up historic numbers.
But you
on
got to
offense.
have a historic quarterback. You look at what Coach Dungy got when he got to Indy. You look at what Coop got, even though Peyton wasn't Peyton, he had a defense. You look at all the guys, Coach Belichick. You look at Pete Carroll. Quarterback, defense. Now, if you're going to tell me Dak Prescott's going to turn out to be one of these Hall of Fame worthy quarterbacks, or the defense is going to be the Bucs, or the defense is going to be the Broncos of 2016, okay, well, you got me.
How did Kansas City just win the Super Bowl? Was it really with defense? I think it was mostly with offense.
Well,
right?
the defense was substantially better than
It was better.
upgraded.
Okay,
But on my homeboy.
Was it all-time great?
So
No.
hold on. Are you saying Dak is my homeboy? Now, if you tell me that, Skip, I'm done. I'm out of here.
You keep telling me day after day after day that Dak Prescott is so good that he deserves $40 million, that he deserves by far the most money in pro football.
No, Skip, what I say is that he deserves market value. And you
market value for a mediocre quarterback.
No. It might be for a mediocre, but market value for a free agent quarterback is something entirely different.
Okay, what did you tell me yesterday? Dak has won two division
titles. Rookie of the year.
And made two Pro Bowls.
Yeah, two.
Two Pro Bowls. Okay, who's to say he's not on a Hall of Fame arc that will start right now with the guy who coached Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers?
Say that again. He on the what?
Hall of Fame
That's
arc.
worth $42 million. I'm glad you told me because you say you were doing this on projections. So projection says Hall of Fame, Jenny.
Okay.
Woo! I'm glad you said that. You heard him.
Was I the only one who picked the Dallas Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl last
No,
year?
you're
I was
not.
not the only one.
many.
So there were some experts, far smarter than I am, who said, hey, this team's loaded, especially on the offensive
But
side
guess
of the
who the
ball.
guy, the smartest expert was that say the Cowboys was going to go 8-8 and not win the division?
Well, hate will inspire you to do a lot of things, right?
But you're right.
Yep,
Driven
yep.
by
Oh,
what?
Driven
so
by
now I'm hating her.
Okay, so I agree with you. The annual NFL Combine is an off-season convention where everybody feels good and speaks good. You know, they all. So Andy Reid.
Sure.
Again, I
They
didn't
probably had cocktails at elbows.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
why
finish
not?
off the list because the key to my list, the ninth guy on the list, it just happened, and he was speaking of Mike McCarthy because
Oh,
Andy
Andy
Reid.
Reid.
He tried and he tried and he tried, and he just kept running right into that closed door in Philadelphia, didn't he? And he was too much of a player's coach and too much this and too much that. And you can argue he got the Mahomes boy because he was the one who traded up to go snatch him.
Go get it.
Okay? But it was his second time around after he had learned all he had learned that didn't work in Philadelphia that did work in Kansas City, right?
Right.
So is Mike McCarthy, is he a good football coach? Sure, he's a good football coach. So Mike McCarthy is 10-8 in the postseason. And he didn't just coach the Bengals in the postseason or Jacksonville in the postseason. He coached a team that is nationally known with a national or maybe international fan base, just like the Dallas Cowboys
You mean
have.
to tell me he lost 8 playoff games with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers? What would we think about the 49ers?
Okay.
With Joe Montana and Steve Young with only one Super Bowl.
I'm just giving you experience of getting teams ready to play 18 playoff games with the pressure of Packer Nation on your shoulders. It's a la Dallas. It's what you feel like when you're getting them ready to play others in the playoffs. And over that stint, Jason Garrett was 2-3 in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Mike McCarthy got the Packers to 4 NFC championship games. So at least he knows what it's like to get ready for an NFC championship game. Jason Garrett got them to no championship games. So Jason Garrett...
What do you expect with Romo and Dak?
Okay, but think about this. Jason Garrett has coached one more playoff game than Mike McCarthy has coached NFC championship games. It's way more experienced. I'm on the record. Mike McCarthy is a better football coach than Jason Garrett. Mike McCarthy will help my team far more next year than Jason Garrett ever did.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is Mike McCarthy, is he Andy Reid?
He would turn into Andy Reid. I never liked Andy Reid. I still am not completely sold on Andy Reid.
You should be so. Let me ask you, is he Mike Tomlin?
Is he Mike Tomlin? He could be. Well, he does have one Super Bowl. He did do that, right? And remember, he coached a road playoff team, a wild card team. When they won the Super Bowl, they had to win 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl.
I tell you what, I'm going to wrap it up like this here. How many games has Mike McCarthy won in which Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre wasn't his quarterback? He did have that one game when Matt Flynn played out of his mind. But when Brett Hundley came in or someone came in other than Rodgers and Favre, things didn't go well. Look at what Mike Tomlin's doing with Roethlisberger. He got Mason Rudolph. He had Joshua Dobbs. He got guys that probably shouldn't even had a dude named Duck. He had a dude started winning the game in the NFL named Duck.
Okay. What did you constantly tell me to defend Aaron Rodgers? You said he had no defensive help. Well, maybe Mike McCarthy didn't have any defensive help because he's the play caller, right? Maybe it's Ted Thompson's fault all those years.
No.
Yes.
No.
Sorry. This trend is screaming that I just showed you. Second stint. They learn their lesson, and then all of a sudden they say, okay, now I get it. Now I know what to do.
Oh, now I get it. You need a Hall of Fame-worthy quarterback because that's what Mike got when he came to Denver. He got 7.
Who's to say my quarterback won't become Hall of Fame?
You say it again.
Who's to say?
Hey, Dak, Todd France, you listening? Skip Bayless say he believes you're going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's worth $40 million alone.
Wow.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.